So now it's time to take all these communication partner strategies that we've learned and think about how we can incorporate them into our classroom instruction. You might feel more confident in incorporating them into your everyday classroom routines, that snack time, that break time, that bathroom time. But there does tend to be a tendency to struggle a little bit more with how do I incorporate this into the curriculum and what we're doing academically. So the first strategy is one called shared reading. And many teachers report that they're already doing shared reading in their classrooms. And at the bottom of this slide, there is a link to a module with even more detailed information about shared reading. But those are the interactions that occur between an adult and a student as they look at and read a book together. So if you sit small groups down or whole group in your classroom and read a book together, you're doing shared reading. It's what a lot of parents do at home with their children, reading a bedtime story. That's a shared reading activity. It is the single most important activity for developing the knowledge required for eventual success in reading. And for many of our students, we really don't know whether they will become readers and writers in the future. But the only way that that's even possible is if we provide them with the opportunity and instruction, because if they do become readers and writers, that is the most autonomous way to communicate. If they can type and spell, then they can use an AAC device to communicate anything they want to without relying on another person to program it, relying on a company to have the vocabulary available. If they can type and spell, they can say anything. So that's really the end goal that we want to try to reach for our AAC users. It may not be that every single one of them will get to that goal, but we want to provide them the opportunity by giving them instruction and activities. So how will you do that? It's not just reading the story to the students. It's not just reading the words on the page. Sometimes you don't even have to read the words on the page at all, but you can label objects in the illustrations. Oh, I see a dog. You can talk about what's going on in the book. Oh, that dog is making a big mess. You can refer to real life connections to the story. So sometimes we make messes too. And you can reference the print, whether you're reading the actual text or you're just doing some print referencing, like, oh, I see a bee, like the bee in your name. So this is a great strategy for all students, not just AAC users. And these are some of your opportunities for modeling. So when you're labeling, I see a dog, you would model on the device. Oh, that dog is making a big mess. Thinking about the other strategies we've already talked about, what core vocabulary could you model when you plan your activity on that activity map? What are some words that occur a lot in the story, high frequency that you might be able to model? If you're going to print reference, you can access the keyboard and also show them where the B is on their keyboard. So one really good strategy for shared reading is the car strategy. And once you get good at that, then you can put the crowd in the car. So we'll talk about both of those, starting with car, which is where a lot of people will probably, for their students, need to start. And then once we get some more interaction, we can start focusing on that crowd piece. So the CAR strategy is an acronym. So the C is for comment and wait. A is to ask for participation and wait. So you can say things like, tell me about, I wonder what's going to happen next. And then respond is the R, by adding a little bit more. So that ties in really nicely with the expansion strategy that we've already covered. This flowchart is really nice because it tells you exactly what to do and has a pathway for if a student does absolutely nothing, what you do. So you read the page or talk about the page and you can comment about it. Oh, that dog is dirty, and wait. And if the students do nothing, then you can ask for participation in some way. I wonder who here has a dog, or wonder who can tell me about how this dog got messy. And then wait, that incorporates that wait time strategy. If a student still doesn't respond in any way, then we get to the modeling. Oh, I think the dog will take a bath. And then you move on to the next page. But it also has pathways for how you can respond and add a little more for when your students do give you something. So you might read the page and comment about it. Oh, that dog is messy. Wait. and a student does comment or ask a question or interact. They say something, anything. And then you respond by repeating it and adding a little more. So that expansion strategy. So maybe you say that dog is messy and they say me on their device, or even with speech. This works for all students. And then you can say, oh, you might be trying to say my dog. I think you have a dog at home. And then you move on to the next page. You also have a pathway for if they don't respond, and then you ask for participation, and then they do respond, and how you can expand that again. So those are the different pathways to follow on here for the CAR strategy. For a lot of us, we're just working on getting the car started, and let's work on that strategy. But once you get really good at it and your students are starting to comment and maybe leading the interaction a little bit more during your shared reading, you can start to use strategies to put the crowd in the car during that ask for participation step. So when you're asking for participation, you can ask for specific types. And a lot of these are just general education strategies like completion. Some people call these close sentences too. Fill in the blank prompts like he huffed and he puffed and he, and then you use that wait time to see if they will respond with, blew the house down. A recall, which is pretty straightforward. Recall what happened. Oh, what happened to the dog here? An open-ended question that could have any answer. Tell me what you see here, or I wonder what you notice about this page. Traditional WH questions. So focusing on the pictures and the vocabulary. Who ate the cookie? Where is the duck? How did they get here? And then D is for distancing. So that's, again, that text to real life connection. Relate the text to the student's experiences. That's just like when you went to Disneyland or whatever topic the book is about. So during the ask for participation step is when you can start incorporating these crowd strategies. So here we're going to watch a video of someone using the CAR strategy during shared reading. And you might even notice some of those crowd things come into play.
With a ribbit oink woof they jostled on the bank till they all tumbled in the poor hog sank. Down dived the dog who knew what to do. Uh-oh, there's a big problem. Look, the hog is going down, down, down. He fell in. What a problem. He can't swim. Oh, look at the frog. Look at the dog. What are they going to do? Yeah, you're right. They're going to help. Hey, they could go help. Go help the hog. Go in. Go in and help. What a good friend that would be. Llama, said the farmer, that was not your jam. I'm so very sorry, duck, really I am. On Marmaduke's face was a great big tear. Then the llama farmer had a grand idea. Oh no, a big problem. I think he was being silly. Naughty llama. Oh no. Look at Marmaduke. How does he feel? What has happened? Yes, he ate all the jam. He ate all the jam. What a naughty llama. How silly.
So you can see in the video how much she's modeling. If a student didn't make a response, she could have modeled the things where she was expanding, like go help, go in and help, using some of those just open-ended questions to talk about the pictures or the events of the story. So that's a really great strategy. If you think back to one of our other strategies where we talked about the classroom teacher modeling with the pointer, this could be an activity where you do something like that, or maybe for your students' attention, you break them into smaller groups so that you can manage doing that in your classroom. So you're not at a table if you're taking this as the webinar and not live, or you may be at a table, but maybe not with peers. But you can choose either the monthly book for the unique learning system, or maybe they have them weekly, or any other classroom book that you might use, and practice reading a couple pages of it using this CAR strategy. And if you feel really ambitious, you can also practice the crowd strategy, just getting comfortable with what it feels like to comment about the pictures, to ask for participation without directly telling students what they need to say or saying, tell me this, but those open-ended, I wonder what will happen next, or, oh, look at that. And again, if you feel really ambitious, you can add in the crowd, practicing WH questions, the recall, the text to life connections through distancing. And once you've done that, we'll come back and talk about another classroom activity that you can incorporate AAC into.